when Courtney Love interrupted Madonna's talk with Kurt Loder. And it was the greatest, again, I say it is the greatest moment in MTV history, but it is probably the greatest moment in world history. It should be taught along with other great moments like when we landed on the moon, when the Berlin Wall came down, D-Day, and when Madonna welcomed Courtney Love up to the platform she was sitting on with Kurt Loder. And Courtney took over the interview and started asking Madonna about what it's like to sleep with regular people who aren't rock stars and how much she loved the movie Truth or Dare. It was incredible. It was just 5 minutes. Anyway, so I mentioned it out of the blue on last week's podcast. And this is why I say that MTV News being canceled after 36 years is my fault. Because every time I mention something on this podcast, something happens to it the next week. If I mention, this person's actually great, I haven't thought of them in a while, they die the next week. Or I find out they're a sexual predator. And now I mentioned Kurt Loder and MTV News, the show gets canceled. And this is a big moment for Gen X. Now, most of us had no idea MTV News was still a thing. Not one of us knew. Not one of us knew MTV was still a thing. Although I went to Old Navy last week. I was walking around. There is a little mall near where I live in Brooklyn. And I'm like, let me wander into Old Navy. I'm trying to find like a 1970s terry cloth onesie. They do make them for children, not adults. Anyway, I see a sweatshirt with the MTV logo. And then above that is their Nirvana t-shirt. So I don't know why they're canceling MTV News when clearly people are still into the 90s. Anyway, but every Gen Xer was lamenting it. It was all over Twitter. We were like, oh my God, we feel like we're being erased. We're so old. It was on for 36 years. And yet none of us knew it was still on. Now, are we the reason? Should we have kept watching it? I don't know. I mean, I'm sure they wanted to cancel it anyway, but it's just one of those things where you don't think about it. And then when you hear that it's canceled, you feel like Michael J. Fox in Back to the Future when he's looking at that picture of himself because he's altering his future by going back to the past and his arm is disappearing. Do you understand? I don't even like Kurt Loder, by the way. I found him annoying and I don't think of him as someone that's my age because he's not. He's older than me. And when I was younger, I thought MTV News was annoying. I thought, oh, here's the old guy who's he's trying to act like a real newsman. Is this ironic? I don't understand what's happening. Just show the videos. I don't care about your MTV News. So I didn't even like it, but I don't want it to go away. Does that make sense?